This is Olav Rostadmo from Nedgravd. We'll see you at the Tampa Morgue.
What's up? This is Tony, and you're listening to the Tampa Morgue Season 3, Episode 145. And as always, from his studio deep in the bowels of Tampa Bay, Florida, Mr. Ed Webb. What is up, Webb?
Mr. Anderson, what's going on, brother?
Not much, man. Heading out of town tomorrow, so wrapping up things around here and getting another episode out. We opened up the show with Qhurra, Storm of from Norway's Nedgravd, that came out on the band's debut record, Ascension, that was released on Portland's Headsplit Records, May 14th, 2026. I will be joined by the band's drummer, Olav, in about 20 minutes. But first, how are you doing, man?
I'm good, brother. I'm good. Everything's good. Just
Calm week,
living
right?
life to the fullest. Yeah, man, living life to the fullest, enjoying the rain and the heat, and it's all good, man.
Yeah, you guys been getting rain. I was talking to my father. He was telling me that the other day. You guys are getting some much needed rain, I believe, too.
I wouldn't use the word much needed, but yeah. I mean, the other day I've had this gazebo in a box since October. What are we in? We're in fucking July.
It's
And
crazy, July, yeah.
yeah, and I got tired. I went out to grill one day, and it fucking rained halfway through grilling. And Bryce is standing out there with one of those beach umbrellas, dude. And I just was like under my breath, was cursing everybody in the world. And I decided, you know what? I'm going to go build that fucking gazebo that was supposed to go over the grill to keep me from getting wet when it rained. And of course, as soon as I started, I got an hour in, and I heard the thunder, and I was like, oh, that's not good. So I finished pre-assembling everything, to where it's ready to go together. And then, dude, the wind, 60-mile-an-hour winds came through. And, dude, it took these pieces of metal I had, for the frame and just whipped them. And I'm like, that's that. I fucking laid everything to where it was safe, and I just went in the house. I was like, I guess we're not finishing today.
That's
And it
Florida,
just came
though,
out of
right?
nowhere. It
Yeah.
just came out of nowhere, dude. 60-mile-an-hour wind. It was thunder, a little bit of darkness, and I'm like, no big deal. And out of nowhere, this wind came, and it was so quick. Like I like tornado quick. You know what I mean? That kind of wind that just you're not ready for. Usually there's a breeze and it kind of, look, it's getting a
Not
little
in Tampa,
windy.
though. Not Florida.
Nope. When that storm comes through, and as soon as that wind came through, Dennis Phillips' little fucking thing popped up on my phone.
That's how you know you're screwed when he pops up.
Major storms with high winds coming, and I was like, nope, they're already
And
here,
those who
brother.
don't know, Dennis Phillips is our local weather guy in the Tampa Bay area. Every hurricane season, you see a lot of Dennis Phillips. He's a local celebrity in the town, man, I have to say. And if you're local in that area, everybody
You
knows
know rule
Dennis.
number 7, right?
Yep. Well,
If he's
but that's
not
the thing with
worrying, you're not worrying.
yeah, and that's why the hurricanes that came through like 2 years ago that fucked up my property and stuff, like, he was worried.
Yep.
Like, we all knew
He
we were
straight up
screwed.
said,
Yeah,
I don't, usually there's a turn, we see the turn, there's no turn. Like, and they did turn, and we still got fucking crushed. So,
and it was
yeah.
interesting. We mentioned last week, Ed was actually in the middle of the hurricane. I was overseas, and we were interviewing Tony Dolan, at that time period, and Ed lasted during the interview. I mean, there was lights flickering behind him, the shit was definitely not going good, but, it's
I did
amazing.
pop off for a minute,
We
but
lost you a few times, yeah.
nobody noticed because I
Yeah.
did, once the internet popped back on, I was right back on. But yeah, that was weird, man. Because we went a stretch without power on that.
That was my first damage, dude. I've never received damage to my home before until that storm.
Yeah, I didn't have damage. We just had no power for like a while, and it really made me go, okay, generator. I'll never be without another fucking generator. And that's actually one of the things I'm working on this week is installing gas lines so I can get a gas stove. Because if I have a gas stove, even if the power goes out, I can cook. And
Yeah.
then I'll have an adapter slaved off to run a generator, which will be hooked to my panel so that I'll have power in my house. I'll never be without the other day it fucking flickered, which sucks because the power went out the other day, and in my brain, I was like, well, that sucks. Well, I didn't realize it tripped my fucking hot tub. So I come out to use my hot tub and it's off. And I was like,
Yeah, same.
oh, so it ruined my whole thing. And that's the kind of shit we deal with. Yesterday, the power went out for a minute, just thundered, power went out, and then it came right back on. I'm like, what is that? Like,
Well, you mentioned earlier too, like, that is the thing with Tampa and Florida in general. Like, 1 minute it's sunny, and the next minute it's a downpour, black, trees bending, and then 5 minutes later,
It's over.
It's over. It's done.
Well, dude, it's like the picture. I think Joe, our guitar player, Joe posted it one time, and I've seen it a million times where you're looking in front of you and it's sunny, but they show the picture of him also looking in the rear view, and it looks like one of Stephen King's fucking horror novels with the dark skies in the back. And that's exactly how, like,
That's
we
Florida
came down
life.
here
Yeah.
when I was young to vacation, and I remember the guy in the hotel was like, "You going to Disney today? Well, plan for the 3:00 rain." And we were like, 3:00? Every day during the
money.
week at 3:00, it rained like like clockwork. And I was like, what is this witchcraft? You know, as a kid, you're like, how do you do that? How do they know? Well,
It's funny here too. People are like, "Oh, I see the movies where the alligators are like walking down the streets when the storms come." That's true. This is not a. This is real.
Watch the video of the hurricane where the lady's upstairs trying to fucking keep from being in the flood, and she comes down by the stairs to video, and there's a fucking alligator swimming in her living room. So because they came in with the flood, I mean that's just how it works.
All that stuff. It's the norm.
But just imagine seeing that, like you're standing on a fucking like a staircase that winds up to the top, and you're looking down, and there's an alligator floating where your fucking dining table used to be. You're like, well, that's fucked. I can't even walk out of here. now you're in a horror movie. So yeah,
and it's hurricane season now, so it's just
it is.
But
it is till December, man. So we're
never
here we go.
fun.
Nope.
Again, I'm going away with my wife and kids for a couple days to a place called Palunga. It's more for the kids. It's like a little resort area and stuff, but they like it there, so we're going to go for a couple. But we've been busy, man, around here. We've done like 5 interviews in the last week and a half. Again, tonight we have Nedgravd from Norway. We've had a decent amount of Norway bands on. We had Magnus from Aberration, which was episode 110. We had Daniel Salston from Deathhammer, Impugner, Torpedo. That was episode 104. We had Henrik and Alexander of Ninth. That was episode 92. And Morgoth and Fondon of Heimland. That was episode 90. That's the ones I do remember that we had. We have Olav coming on tonight, the drummer. Him and his brother Axel, they actually play jazz and stuff like that on the side that I saw. They play a variety of music outside of Nedgravd, so we'll ask them about that tonight. But Axel's 17 and Olav's 19. Killer young band though. We're going to play their whole Ascension album they put out on Headsplit Records tonight. It is their only release out right now, but they have a lot of stuff going on. So we'll talk to Olav. And I did get to hear one of the new tracks they've been demoing out to Ghoul of Nazareth, which is killer. Pretty much follows what they've been doing. Upcoming guests, we have Zorn from Philadelphia. We got Jeff Manis from Venom Inc., Mantis Abaddon. Definitely looking forward to that. Jeff was on here for 5 hours. I think it's episode 77, if I remember correctly. We go through the whole Venom history. A lot of great stories on that one. So the next one will be a little different, man, because Jeff has a lot of stuff going on. He's doing the Mantis Abaddon now. They've been playing festivals and just a whole bunch of shit going on with him. So we'll be talking to him. And then we have Cutthroat from Ireland. Speaking of young bands, killer band. They put out the Invoking Terror EP on Dying Victim Productions. We'll have Breon, the vocalist and bassist, on. And Ed, you checked them out too, man. Killer band, right? Some of these young bands.
Yeah, man. But yeah, I listened to them at the gym, and they were surprising.
Yeah, our first extreme metal band from Ireland too. Yeah, we've had a variety of bands on here, and I will say, we're pretty much, we cover the extreme. We've had some punk guests too. Obviously, we had Bloody F Mess on the show, who played with Gigi Allen. Some crazy John Wayne Gacy stories on that. We've had Mike Deanna, the artist for Boiled Angel, who went to jail for his artwork. He was actually the first person ever to go to jail for artwork. They tied him to the Bundy killings back in the day. So if anybody hasn't heard those episodes, we've had a variety of different kind of guests on this show, even actors. The last handful of episodes we had Marcus E. Norman on from Bewitched and Naglfar. We had Eat the Decay, or ETD. We had Jimmy and Travis of Deathless on the show, Ben Jackson from Crimson Glory, Andy LaRock and Pete Black from obviously their time in King Diamond. Andy's still in King Diamond, and then Lex Legion. They have a new album out now, which is killer. Sissipian from Lithuania. We had Revik of Morden Red and Arco Presser from Lord Humongous on the show. Carnivore and Slaughter of Cruel Force. We'll go over more of the guests we had on here in a few minutes. Anybody who listens to the show knows for the last couple months we've been asking the guests who they thought was their favorite or the most important band to come out of Florida, which mostly it's leaning towards favorite, I would would say, and favorite album to come out of Florida. And this week we have Jeff Manis from obviously Venom, Venom Inc. So yeah, we asked him that question. He was very honest, and this is what he had to say. Jeff, for you, man, who is your favorite band out of Florida, and what is your favorite record to come out of Florida?
Well, do you know what it is? I've got to be honest about this. And I'll just say that I've never followed the sort of Tampa scene, the death metal scene, the black metal scene, all that kind of stuff. I never really followed it. I get asked the question about the black metal scene at the moment, and what do you think? And it's like, you know, all I can say is it's great to see that it's evolved and it's still around. But I've never followed it, and I never wanted to be influenced by anybody that followed us, so to speak. If that might sound a bit egotistical, I don't know, but I had my influences, Priest, Early Kiss, Motorhead, but since what's happened recently, going around doing these celebrations of the Venom music, and David Vincent coming on board. I mean, I'd heard something years and years ago, but I thought, I'm going to go and sort of pay a little bit of homage and see what he's all about. And don't ask me which songs or anything like that, because I just went through the album on YouTube, had a listen to it, and I must admit I really liked the Altars of Madness album. But I haven't explored anything else. I'm not going to lie and say, oh yeah, I know this band and this band and that. No. And I mean, obviously I've toured with Obituary as well. And who was the other one? Suffocation. We toured with them. But no, I mean, the thing I like about David's voice is he's not absolute cookie monster. It's like, it's articulate, and and what he does with us at the minute is outstanding. His take on the Venom material, he's doing Rip Ride, Buried Alive, Don't Burn the Witch, and Poison, and his take on those songs is amazing. And he's doing Countess Bathory with Diva Satanica. They're sharing that song together. And it's just working out great, and his voice. The first time I heard Something Back was Buried Alive, and I thought, wow, his voice really fits that song. And he's really doing a great job on it. So more power to him. And I met up with Brian Werner, obviously, his other cohort. They had been on the same festival as us, and so that was like 2 shows that David had played in the same day. And like I say, Brian, who was Brian with at the time?
Terrorizer was he doing with
He was
David?
doing Terrorizer with David, but what was it? Was it Skeletal? Oh, it wasn't Skeletal Remains. It wasn't. Who was he with the guitarist Tony?
Oh, he was with Vital Remains.
Yeah, that's the one. Vital Remains. Good God. So long ago now, I couldn't remember it. Yeah, but I'd like to say I've known Brian for a while. He's a nice guy.
Yeah, I know Brian. Yeah.
He's a bit mad, but he's a nice guy. I like him. He's a crazy guy. I like him. We had a good chat at the hotel as well. So I'm afraid that's all I can say about the sort of Tampa sort of metal scene. I suppose I should have another look at it, to be perfectly honest. But like I say, I've always said, my roots have always been, essentially in the quintessential English metal bands, apart from the early Kiss. I mean, I got into Kiss when I was a kid, yeah. But so yeah, that's what I can say about it. But that Altars of Madness album, yeah, I do like it. Yeah.
And there you go. That was Jeff Manis from Venom, Mantis and Abaddon, Venom Inc. But he'll be on the show here in the next couple weeks. But Ed, I say we do the promo stuff. We'll do releases, shows, and then we'll get Olav on from Nedgravd. What do you think?
Let's do it. Let's keep it rolling as usual.
Yeah, so we'll roll the Circle Studios promo, and then we'll play some Nedgravd. We're playing the whole album from them they just put out on Headsplit Records. and we'll play Sentiential Incantation from the Ascension record. We'll be back on the Tampa Morgue after this.
Hello, Tampa Bay Morgue listeners. This is Joe from Circle Rehearsal Studio, Tampa Bay's rehearsal giant with 33 years of service. We know what you need to rock. Large, clean, quiet, cool, smoke-free, isolated rooms with the best gear at a musician-friendly price of $25 an hour. Professional, courteous, easygoing environment. Recently upgraded and remodeled with top-quality gear, Marshall, Ampeg, Pearl, Tampa, JBL, Yamaha, PPP, and more. We have the experience and the gear to provide you with the best possible rehearsal experience at the best price. Just completed and soon to open Circle's demo studio for your recording needs. From laying down drum tracks to complete projects, we have you covered at a musician-friendly price. Also in the work is the pro rehearsal room, freshly appointed and stocked with the best gear at nicely competitive rates. Our contact number is 727-546-8930. Our address is 10841 75th Street, Seminole, Florida, 33777. We have 7 large rehearsal rooms. Looking forward to seeing you soon. Thanks.
I strike, and you shall ride at the front, sorcerer.
Now there you were wrong. The power of darkness is more than just a superstition. It is a living force, which can be tapped at any given moment of the night.
Welcome back to the Morgue, and that was Nedgravd with the track Sentiential Incantation from the band's debut record Ascension that came out May 14th on Headsplit Records and will be joined in about 10 minutes by the band's drummer Olav. If you are a new listener, we appreciate you checking out the Morgue. If you'd like to contact us, you can email us at thetampamorgue@gmail.com or message us on the official Tampa Morgue Instagram page. The Instagram page is the best place to keep up with the latest on the show, upcoming guests, and basically anything Tampa Morgue related. If you're looking to snag an official Tampa Morgue shirt, they're $25 plus shipping, and we do ship worldwide. Just send us a message. And as we say every week on the Morgue, we are in no way influencers. We are just an underground audio show that documents the history of extreme music with the artists who create it. And this is episode 145. You can go back and listen to 144 previous episodes for free wherever you listen to your podcasts. On past episodes, you'll find interviews with artists like Ed Miller of Negative Plane, Possessor and S. Bellis of Austria's Transylvania, Jan and Marco of Germany's Witching Hour, Panzer Kampfwagen of Possession out of Belgium, Seb, the bassist of French black metal band Hell Militia, Tom of Devastator out of the UK, Brian Kaz of Melting Rot, Vincent Crowley of Asheron, Ex Nocturnus and the Vincent Crowley Band, Germany's Lead Injector, Chuck Billy of Testament, Dave and Jeff of Imprecation out of Texas, Dawn of the Dead of Nunslaughter and Satanic Threat, Snowy Shaw of Merciful Fate, King Diamond, and Notre Dame. Kyle Thomas of X-Hoarder Trouble, X-Floodgate, and Alabama Thunder Pussy. Last time he was on the show, we dissected the Slaughter in the Vatican album. Dallas Toller Wade from Narcotic Wasteland and X-Nile. Jamie Bailey of Brodequin and Liturgy. Matt Bishop from Human Artifacts, Horrific Demise, and X-Lovidity. Tomas of Wolfheart. Henry of God Dethroned. King Fally of Deceased on October 31. Beelzebub of Mystic Circle. Blaine Cook of The Accused and The Accused AD. Gene of Perdition Temple, Malefic Throne, Ex-Angel Corpse, and Hexorcist. Chris Reifert of Autopsy, Abscess, Eat My Fucking Violation Wound. Lee Payne of Club and Hoof. Ryan Waste of Municipal Waste, Bat, and Vulture. Pooch of Raped Ape. Alan Howarth, who did the music for Halloween, Escape from New York, Poltergeist, They Live, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Gremlins, and much more. Harry Quokenan from Hooded Menace, Hail Conjurer, Horse Latitudes, and Hollow Woods. Dave Greger of Mortis Scold. Jim and Pat of Morbid Saint. Carl Kennedy of The Rods. Paul Speckman of Master. Bill Owen of Purgatory. John Gallagher of Raven. Dave Austin of Nasty Savage. David Howard Thornton, who played Art the Clown in the Terrifier films. Lord Ahriman from Dark Funeral. Bobby G of Overkill, John Walker of Cancer, Jeff Manis of Venom and Venom Inc., Rob of Lucifericon and X-Destroyer 666, Luciferian Rights out of Mexico, Martin Missy of Protector, Phantom out of Mexico, Witch Trap out of Colombia, Glenn Destructor of Australia's Destructor, Pat from Hell Witch, Diversifier from Miramac, Ancestral Fog and Ex Morte Incandescente, Hana from Osagram, Lee Harrison from Monstrosity, Ex-Malevolent Creation, Ex-Terrorizer, and Midnight. Atax and Scum of Germany's black metal band Pest. Juha of Death Chain, Chamber of Unlight, and War Moon Lord. Yarno of Finland's Urn, Ex-Barathrum and Graves. Kev Desecrator of Destroyer 666, Sepulchre, Venefiction, and Profanation. Tony Thomas of Witch Vomit and Torture Rack. W. Horror Preacher of Vomit Angel, Mask of Satan, and Witch's Hollow. We had Chris Volcano on the show, his first audio interview ever. Chris plays with Abominator, Cemetery Urn, Denouncement Pirate, and he played with Destroyer 666. We had Sadistic Fornicator and Bassist the One of UK's Necromaniac on the show. Anti, aka Necroterror of Cadaveric Incubator, Ex-Torso Fox, Sluggathor, and Satanic Warmaster. We had Magnus on of Norway's Aberration, Ex-Condor, and Ex-Hecatomb, and Ex-Mayans Hill. Nasty Ronnie of Nasty Savage. Simo of Finland's Flame and Exodorier. Daniel Avenger from Nocturnal, Angel of Damnation, and Black Priest of Satan. Eric from Goat Seaman, Evil Dam, and Exarum, and Ex-Black Angel. Sergeant Salston from Deathhammer. Infernal and Odin of Disaster. Alessio from Violator, Hobbs Angel of Death, and the Mentors. Nige Rocket of Onslaught. Terry Butler of Obituary, Inhuman Condition, Ex-Death, Ex-Massacre, and Left to Die. Adam Scott of Cardiac Arrest. Noella of Hexea out of Texas. We had Lord Sabathon on from Slaughter Messiah, Heinous, Ex-Enthroned, and Morbid Death. Crusher of Finland's Morgul, Norway's Heimland, Ritual Butcher of Ark Goat, John Berry of Slaughter Messiah, Ancient Rites, and Nocturnal, Udo from Accept, Tony Dolan from Venom, Venom Inc., Adamcraft, Louisma from Hemorrhage, and we also had the legendary producer Scott Burns on the show. And these are just some of the interviews you'll hear when you go back and listen to past episodes. And now what I'll do is I'll read the releases that were sent in to us. We'll find out about upcoming shows, and we'll get to our guest. And we'll start out with the Spanish death grind metal band Infected Flesh. They're putting out an album called Post-Apocalyptic Vicious Tyrannation. It's coming out on Brutal Mind Records out of Indonesia. The band formed in 1997. First release was in 2000. This will be the band's fifth full length. Post-Apocalyptic has 11 tracks and came out on July 11th. Next, we're going to go over to the UK sludge metal band Tomb Slab. They're putting out a self-titled record on Road to Masochist Records out of the UK. The band formed in 2024, put out 2 singles earlier this year, members past and present of Hideous Crawling Abomination, The Infernal Sea, and Lindau Moss. The debut album has 6 tracks. It'll be out on July 17th. Next, we're going to go over to the Italian black metal band Agonia Black Vomit. They're putting out an album called Satanic Rites for the Undead. It's coming out on Symbol of Domination Productions out of Moldova. The band's first release was a 2010 demo titled Rites of Unholy Seed. Their debut album was Satanic Black Vomit that came out in 2011. This will actually be the band's 4th full length. They've also put out 2 EPs. Satanic Rites for the Undead has 10 tracks and will be out on the 15th. Next, we'll mention the California metal band Coffin Hunters. They're putting out an album called Cosmic Dawn. It's an independent release, I believe. Coffin Hunters formed in 2017. First release was a 4-song EP titled Coffin Lord. This will be the band's 3rd full length and a follow-up to the band's 2022 Wake the Dead album. Cosmic Dawn has 8 tracks. It'll be available July 17th. And I'm going to wrap up the releases with the Massachusetts death crust metal band Fuming Mouth. They're putting out an album called The Ringing Bell on 888 Records. Fuming Mouth formed in 2013, put out a 4-song demo in 2013 also. The band also put out 2 demos, 2 EPs, 1 split, and this will be the band's 3rd full length. Ringing Bell has 11 tracks and it'll be out on July 17th. And I only have a few shows to actually announce because we'll be back next week, so we'll announce more. I got Friday, the 17th of July, Winter, Death Warden, and Skeletizer at the Abra in Melbourne, Florida. Also, Friday, July 17th, 6 Feet Under and Cataclysm at the Albatross in Jacksonville. That same tour is going through, playing again July 18th at 6 Feet Under and Cataclysm again at the Culture Room in Fort Lauderdale. And then also July 19th, it'll be 6 Feet Under, Cataclysm, and Wormhole at the Conduit in Orlando. That's what I have for shows, and I have to thank Baltimore Ed. He sent me the link for, I'll actually give you guys the address. It's hvymtlmom.com. If you're in Florida, it basically has a calendar that has every show on it. And it seems like it's updated all the time. It also has some pictures and videos from Florida shows in there, a whole bunch of stuff. So it's definitely a cool site. Again, that's hvymtlmom.com. And Baltimore Ed, he was the vocalist at one time for Gainesville, Florida's Impurity, did an EP with the band in 2003 titled Unearthly Infinity. But yeah, I've been checking the site before we do shows just to see the calendar and stuff. So it's definitely a cool site. Whoever runs that, we really appreciate it. But yeah, anybody who hasn't checked it out in Florida, check it out and you can figure out what's going on every weekend. And that's all I have. So let's get Olav on from Nedgravd. If you haven't heard him yet, you're going to enjoy this episode. And we're playing the whole Ascension record that they put out on Headsplit Records. Norway has some killer bands. I mean, everyone, of course, you think of the Mayhems, Dark Thrones, Aura Noirs, Immortal, Enslaved, Gorgoroth, Burzum. Plus, they have some great newer bands like Aberration, I have to say, one of my favorite bands in the last few years. And we also had Daniel, a.k.a. Sergeant Salston, on from Deathhammer, and Crimson Dawn is a great record. The Evil Power record, the list goes on. But we are looking forward to talk to Olav. First, we're going to play some Nedgravd. We're going to play Paragon of Impiety from the Ascension record that came out in Headsplit Records. And we'll be back on the Tampa Morgue with Olav after this.
What's up, guys? This is Ed from the Morgue. And if you're like Tony and I and dedicated to working out, and you're from Tampa or will be visiting Tampa, I'm going to let you in on the best kept secret gym in the area, Tampa Family Fitness on the corner of Bears and Florida Avenue. And unlike the big box gyms where you're just a name and a number, the owners, Sarah and Eddie Amaral, have created a community where you're not just another face lost in the crowd. They also have, hands down, the best trainers in Tampa, with Coach J, Jared Perea, who I've personally witnessed take his clients to award-winning bodybuilders. Not to mention this dude is an absolute beast himself. So if you want to get in the best shape of your life, this is definitely the place to do it, and these are the people to do it with. So if you want a no-frills gym experience that I can only describe as old-school Arnold Schwarzenegger on Venice Beach with no fancy machines, just get in, get your ass kicked, get a crushing workout, then you want to go to Tampa Family Fitness at 14968 North Florida Avenue. And if you're a band that's traveling to Tampa and playing the Orpheum or the Brass Mug, this is literally less than a 5-minute drive from either location. There's a QR code on the door. Just scan it, pay $10, and you're good to go for the whole day. Or if you're in Tampa and you want to see what all the hype's about, stop in and get a day pass. And make sure you tell them Ed sent you from the Tampa Morgue.
Hey, Tampa Morgue listeners. This is Nasty Ronnie from Nasty Savage. And I gotta tell you, the Tampa Death Fest is coming Friday and Saturday, September 4th and 5th at the Brass Mug in Tampa. You don't want to miss. All these bands are going to be there. It's going to be off the chain. Pioneers ourselves are going to be there. Nasty Savage creating the mayhem at the Brass Mug. And you can get tickets online at ticketbud.com. And it's all put on by Tampa Metal Scene. These guys are kicking ass for you. Come out and support this and see the next generation of death metal bands that are taking on the world. Tampa Death Fest. Don't miss it. Be there.
Save your prayers. God is not here with us now. There is only the darkness here. And your death.
was Paragon of Impiety by Norway's Nedgravd, and we are joined by the drummer Olav. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
Nice, man. And how is everything? Before we start talking about the band stuff and everything, how's the summer over in Norway this year?
It's one of the best I've seen in late years. I've been doing a lot of bathing in my local river where I've found a gun, which is very cool. I found a gun in my river.
You found a gun in your river?
Yes, I found a gun. It's just like a spy gun from Brazil. It's called Charinga or something. I don't know. It's very very cool. It's like a gaucho gun. It's like a gun for cowboys from Brazil. So I've been messing around with that gun. I've been bathing, and the sun is shining every day. The nights are too hot, so I can't sleep. But the days are so bright and hot and evil, so they burn my skin, and I get red on my shoulders. So yeah, the summer is great, better than ever, and I listen to death metal all day.
Nice. Have you been attending any of the summer fests over there? Actually, you guys have what, Beyond the Gates and Inferno, and
Yeah, Beyond the Gates is coming later this summer, but we've been to Tons of Rock, which is a really crappy and poser festival, but we got to play a couple of songs there somehow, like a really, what's it called, commercial festival or something. But Bloodfire Death played there, the Bathory tribute, which was very very good, and the Blood Incantation guys were there, and they were nice people. That was a good experience. We got Death to All, I guess, the death thing,
we played with them. Yeah.
and with Gene. So yeah, that's the only festival I've been to this summer.
Nedgravd, you guys just got booked October 3rd at the Temple Fire Fest 2 in
Yes.
Belgium.
Yes.
Is this the first like big fest you guys? It's your first show out of town too, correctly? Like basically out of the
Yeah,
area.
it's basically the first show out of our city, yeah, Oslo. I mean, we played a couple of shows like a half hour out of our city, but Belgium is the first show out of the country, yeah.
Is this your first like decent sized fest you guys are playing?
Yeah, I guess, yes. We have a lot of things planned for the fall, but this will be the first, yes.
June 6th was the last show you guys did?
Yeah, that was the last full show we did. We did a short show at Tons of Rock, the 24th of June. Yeah, but we only played 2 songs, but it was very successful. It was the biggest crowd we've ever had. It was
Well,
very
how much
cool.
people would you estimate you guys played in front of?
Maybe 1 million or something was.
That's a lot of fucking people.
Yeah, it was a lot of fucking people. More people than you've ever seen, and it was very cool. But we only played 2 songs.
In your local area, what's some of the like venues you guys are playing at there these days?
Oh, but the most evil and most death metal venue is called Boxen, which means the box, and it used to be called the Hot Box, and it's just an evil cave underneath a squatted building with a lot of punk people shooting syringes in their arms and stuff. And underneath all that is a evil place called Boxen where everything can happen. And we play there like 5 times, and it's always the most moody place. It's very evil. But we also played a bunch of shows at other places in Oslo called Subscene, which is a poser place filled with Christian emo guys. And yeah, we haven't played a lot of shows. But yeah, mostly Boxen. It is the best place. Yes.
And
Yeah.
you were born in Oslo, right? 2007.
Yes.
Were you raised by younger parents or older parents?
I guess younger. Yeah, they're born in around 80, 77 and 80. Yes. So
And-
yeah.
And were you raised in like a musical household? You guys are also like play jazz and stuff and do a lot of stuff
Oh.
outside of
You know.
Yeah. You guys have been involved with instruments. It seems like for a long time. So
Yes.
you obviously like when did it start for you guys? For you and Axel?
Me and Axel, I started to play piano actually at I guess when I was 6 years old, and I played. Eventually, I started playing church organ, which is obviously the most abysmal instrument. And then Axel started playing guitar at probably 6 too. So we were both playing music together when we were 6 and 8. And because our dad, he played a lot of keyboards and stuff. He was a pop music producer and electronic music guy, and he also played in some rock bands and stuff. But we started venturing into the rock thing in when we were like maybe 7 and 9. We started a little band where we played keyboard and guitars with some other guys from our school, and yeah, it went from I guess Queen to Iron Maiden, and eventually we discovered Mayhem and Merciless and Morbid and those 90s bands, and then started playing that kind of music.
And Axel plays the double bass too, the stand-up too.
Yes, he does. He plays double bass. He started doing that when he was 9, maybe. But I hate it when he plays the double bass, because when he plays the double bass, he's spending a lot of time practicing how to play the stuff. But when he plays the guitar, he just wants to play with his pedals and try to get a nice sound, and he never wants to practice his shredding. And I want him to shred like a maniac, but he never wants to learn how to do it. But I will make him do it sometime.
And do you recall the first piece of music, that really caught your attention as a kid? Like not even like pre-metal, like the first, when you first said, "Hey, I want to dive into this and find out more about it."
The first thing that comes to mind is Boing Boom Chuck by Kraftwerk, the German electronic band, or what's it called? Cosmic Musik, Kosmischer Musik. Yes, Kraftwerk. I listened a lot to that when I was a kid.
Do you remember the first record that you actually purchased on your own?
Yes, that was I think a Queen record.
You're 19 years old, so like, where are you getting your music at these days? I'm sure, like, when we were growing up, there was more record stores and stuff. Times have changed; a lot of them go out of business. Where are you getting your music at?
I'd say we have. I've been traveling a bunch in Europe, but I think the 2 best record stores I've been to are in Oslo, which is first of all Neseblod, which is where the Helvete store used to be, the Mayhem hangout spot, which is a perfect metal shop with a lot of old records and yeah, everything you need basically.
Have you been there since the fires happened there?
Yeah, I'm there every week.
How bad was the damage? Because I only saw pictures online of it.
The building itself is all good, but there was a bunch of records and shirts that burned up. But they've put a lot of the shirts and the records that were damaged by the fire up in the store for sale, because it's like a relic
Right.
from the Neseblod fires. It's kind of a thing, which is cool. And but the really good shit is all good. There's no damage to the gold, I'd say, because the fire started downstairs, where there's only punk and hardcore and stuff. So most of the good shit is all good.
When you start getting into like the more of the rock bands and stuff, or the, obviously you mentioned Queen and stuff, like the gateway bands that lead to the,
Yeah.
the heavier bands and stuff. What were some of were you getting into the usual, like the Slayers and the Venoms and stuff like that, and the Celtic Frosts?
Yeah, it started with the Slayer, which, or I mean, Queen was kind of a gateway band, I'd say, with the early records, like Ogre Battle, which is which I'd say is a heavy metal song, and gives a lot of the same feeling that I get from bands like Dio and stuff. But when I got to 6th grade, I got a new classmate called Torbjörn, which is the vocalist of Nedgravd as of now, and he showed me bands like Slayer and Iron Maiden, which was a blessing to me. And from Slayer and Iron Maiden, I went to Mayhem pretty quickly, which was an early obsession in this genre. And from Mayhem, it went to Merciless and Morbid mostly, which were a couple of bands that I listened to a whole lot in the early years of my metal life.
I was going to ask you when you started getting into the, like learning about the history of where you're from, because obviously you guys have that, such a strong history there, and with the bands and everything. What is the first show you went to?
Of the metal kind?
Yeah, or any kind actually. Yeah, any kind and the metal kind.
Yeah, well, of any kind, the first I can remember is a show with a legendary Norwegian kind of a folk rock guy, but it's mostly recognized as a children's band called Knutsen and Ludvigsen, which is kind of a legendary thing in Norway. But of the metal kind, the first show I went to was probably Invaders, which is a local thrash metal band that used to play around in Oslo. In 2019, I guess, was my first metal show.
When did you start sitting behind a kit? And when did you first get your first drum kit?
I got my first drum kit when I turned 13, I think, and played all the time. But at that time, I mostly played Nirvana and of course some thrash metal stuff. And yeah, I played a lot of Nirvana and Merciless with my brother in my attic. When I was 13, that's when I started playing the drums.
Are you self-taught?
Yes, or mostly. I have for a couple of years I went to a really cool guy called Qhurra, who is marimba guy. If you know this instrument, it's like a big xylophone.
Mm-hmm.
And he does like classical percussion and Norwegian folk percussion, which is mostly one drum called the slåttetromme, used in weddings and funerals and stuff. So I have been to kind of a teacher, but not for the drum kit per se.
Do you have any drummers who kind of looked up to growing up?
I mean, when I started to play drums, Dave Grohl was the kind of the inspiration. That's the kind of music that made me want to play drums, because it's so such a hard beating kind of drumming, which has always been a fascination for me. And as the years went by, I fell in love with the drumming of the Norwegian Fenris from Darkthrone, especially the early years with the Soulside Journey and Goat Lord albums, which is I'd say definitely the best death metal drumming there is. Really musical and kind of a kind of playing that lives a life on its own, which I like a lot and still inspires me. So I'd say Fenris is my biggest inspiration when it comes to drums. Gylvenagel from Darkthrone.
Man, I'm going to play some Nedgravd now. I'm going to play the title track, actually, Ascension. We're going to play the whole record tonight. Like I said, we've already played a few tracks. Anything you could tell us about this one?
Yeah, the Ascension track was kind of in the plans for the record for a long time. There there was one evening, I guess, in 2023 when we landed on the title of Ascension for the record, and we landed on a track list, but which was later changed, I guess, 4 times. But in the initial plan for the release, which was initially a demo called Ascension, we wanted to make an instrumental called Ascension on organ and synthesizers and stuff. But we didn't really finish that track before a couple of months before we released it. And the night we actually did the track was, I guess, a year ago or something. And my brother and I was just chilling, and I said, "Hey, we should make this instrumental track now." And he said, "Oh, I don't want to do it." And I said, "Okay, we'll watch City of the Living Dead first, and then we can do it." And then he said, "Okay, I might do that." And then we watched City of the Living Dead, and then we went into his room with a lot of keyboards, and we just made the song, and it was very cool. Yeah, we also used electric sitar, or a sitar guitar, which is like a kind of a 70s invention used by bands like Rolling Stones and Yes and stuff like that. And we like that kind of sound, which reminded us of 70s Italian movies. And for the latter part of the song, we just sampled the song from the movie, what's it called? Redneck Zombies, which is a Trauma Productions movie. Same guys who made the Toxic Avenger and Nukem High and stuff. Just the most evil chords of all time, just 2 chords tearing your soul apart. And we put a bunch of horror movie samples on it, and it fit the track.
Yeah, I was going to mention that eventually too. You guys are very influenced by like 70s and 80s horror movies.
Yes. Definitely.
This is Nedgravd with Ascension, and we'll be back on the Tampa Morgue after this track.
All right, I'm back. You can release the child. Yes, I have you back. No, I don't have to release the child. What do you mean? You have no use for her? But I do, my son. Most important use. Have you back? The only one I need is the tunnel. You dare.
War, disease, and death. They rule this world. If a God of love and life ever did exist, he is long since dead. Someone, something rules in his place. our coven of 13 has been restored, we can begin the set. Bring in the crowd.
And that was Nedgravd with Ascension. And also, man, you also do artwork. You do logos. You've worked with several bands. You do cover art and stuff. When did you start also getting into drawing?
Probably when I was 3, 4 years old. Like all other kids, at least here in Norway. I don't know about in Tampa, but here all kids draw, and some keep doing it, and others quit when they reach a certain age. But I never quit. And when I started listening to metal, I started drawing stupid, evil shit. And of course, I needed to make our logo and our album cover and stuff like that. And I've also made a couple of other logos too. I find it fun.
Now, you did the original logo that you guys started using.
Yeah. I didn't do our current logo. I forgot that. Yes, I did our previous logo and the logo before that. We've had a couple of logos, but we weren't. At least I weren't happy with the logo, so we got Christian Valbo from Obliteration, who also did some. He did a lot of artwork for bands here in Oslo, like Aberration and Necromantia and stuff. We got him to make a logo, which really looks like the logo of Magus, the band before Absu, from Texas. Our logo really looks like that one, but I told it to him, and he said, "Oh, I've never seen that logo. That's really weird." So that's kind of funny, but it's a really evil logo, I think.
And when did you, so getting to the band now too, when did you first meet Eric and Lars? Were you guys schoolmates or?
I met Eirik when he moved into our street when we were 5 years old, I think. He's our neighbor, so he lives across the street, and we always hung out and played Star Wars and with Legos and stuff like that. And eventually, I started liking black metal, and he started liking it too. So we listened to a lot of black metal together. And one time we went to his cabin, and we realized that we needed to start a band. And it had to be called Nedgravd because we were really into Entombed at the time. So we thought, okay, what's Entombed in Norwegian? Yeah, that's Nedgravd. Yeah, we have to be, yeah, that's our name.
So it's
That's
burial then. Okay, I was gonna, yeah.
It's buried, yeah, buried.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit nuanced. I mean, it's digged down is the kind of direct translation.
Now, was there any other names you guys were tossing around that you guys know right away that that's what you wanted?
Yeah, that was the immediate name, and we never changed it. But we were maybe changing it sometime. No, back a couple of years ago, we wanted to change it because it's Norwegian and people can't pronounce it and stuff. But we landed on keeping it because it's a cool name.
When do you start like hanging out with people that are like-minded, with Lars and those guys too? When you guys are all starting just getting together, listening to records, hanging out, just talking about music all the time? Is that kind of when that phase started for you, or did you and your brother start much earlier?
Yeah, well, when we started getting into extreme metal music, there were no other people at our age listening to our kind of music. So it was just me, my brother, and Torbjörn were kind of the black metal guys when we were 13 years old, I guess. And then a couple of years went by, and we met Lars, our guitarist, and we started hanging out. And he had some black metal stuff going on. He made some solo stuff, and he started a band with Torbjörn called Manäta, which was a black metal band, which later collapsed. But when me and Eirik started Nedgravd, we had Lars come in, and then we finally were a band. And
So it's like 2020, right? You, Eric,
Yeah.
and Axel first get together. You guys remember the moment when you guys sat together and said, "Hey, let's do this"? You guys are very obviously 80s, 90s, old school death metal, which was something that you make sure you stay true to no matter what. I've read some stuff with you guys where you don't follow. There's no rules. There's no like you kind of if it works and stuff. But it always kind of has to fall into that realm. Is that correct?
Well, that's the groundwork. Yes, I mean death metal from 85 to 95 is the only period that's worth listening to, I think. I mean, when it comes to production and all that sort of stuff, it just went downhill after that, I think. So we'll never. I guess when we write riffs, we don't. I guess we're in the mindset of those years, but we don't have limits, like you said. But there is no point in trying to take the genre to new directions, because the direction is already set on Total Evilry.
You guys share a space with Deathhammer, those
Yeah.
guys, and then Aberration and stuff. Is that your first jam room you guys are in? Or do you guys have
Oh.
when you guys first start jamming, where are you guys getting together at for rehearsals?
We started playing in our attic. I guess it's called in English, the room above the room. Yeah, and the rehearsals up there were kind of tedious, I guess, because the sound was awful, and in the summer it was kind of too hot to handle, and in the winter it was too cold to handle. But we managed to make some songs up there, and later we found a Christian place to play. There was a Christian rock place in town that wanted to have a young bands play for free in their rehearsal place downstairs. We played
It's like
there
a youth
for a while.
center? Is that
Yeah,
what you guys
kind of like that. Yes, something like this. And then a couple of years after that, we found Stovner Rockefabrik, which is a youth center east in Oslo, where Ulver recorded their demo, and Dark Throne recorded the vocals for Transylvania Hunger, I think, and Dimmu Borgir recorded their first album, and Dødheimsgard recorded their album there, and a bunch of shit from the 90s was recorded there, so we thought that would be a good place, and it was free and close to Torbjørn's house, so we played there for a while. And eventually we found the rehearsal place of Deathhammer and those guys and started renting there. And yes.
You guys are obviously younger. Daniel, he's in his 30s. Magnus is in his 30s, a couple years different. I think Magnus is a few years younger. We've had them both on this show. I've watched a bunch of you guys live stuff and listened to the album a shitload of times.
Oh.
You guys definitely have it right. Like, it's actually really impressive. Has that been some inspiration from bands like Deathhammer and Daniel? And have they kind of shown you the right way to do things, or you guys kind of figured out on your own, you think?
I'd say I'd say we figured out on our own, and then later came in contact with those guys because we are so evil and true and stuff like this. Yeah, we actually have had the guitarist of Aberration and Obliteration and Necromantion, Arild, which is not Magnus, but the other guy with the curly hair. He mixed one of our songs, Paragon of Impiety, but yeah, he didn't make it sound right, and he was. I don't think he wanted to do it because we were so picky, and the recordings were so bad. I mean, they sounded really bad, so it ended up we ended up having to do it ourselves. But I think we came in contact with these cool guys because our band sounds so killer, and we have cool makeup and cool photos.
Well, when you guys first start this band out, did you guys lay down like what you get? Because I do believe a band has to have a certain look. There's nothing worse than you go see a band, they got baseball hats on, and one guy's got shorts on, and Did you guys sit down and say, hey, we have to take this serious, and this is it's because you guys, like I said, you guys definitely have that look. Was that something that you guys were aware of right away? When you formed the band, I don't know, I hate to say image, but the look had to fit the music. That you had to feel like you were getting
Yeah.
the full
I mean,
package, so to say.
From the start, we wanted to make a sort of evil death metal, not necessarily a sleazy gore death metal, but an evil death metal, which does not exclude gore. And for that, you need an evil image. You can't pose in the photos with oversized shirts and shorts and stupid faces. You need a huge pentagram, and you have to wear pants, and you have to really worship what needs to be worshipped, and we always did. And it came quite obvious to us to do it this way, and I guess it never. We always did it that way, kind of.
And are you guys all into the occult? And what age did you guys start getting into that? Would the music kind of bring you there? You kind of get into the bands. I mean, I think for all of us, it kind of starts out like that, right? You kind of learn from the records and stuff. Was that the same thing for you?
Yes, except for Axel, our guitarist. He has been a occultist since as long as I can remember. He ate his twin in when he was in our mom's belly. He in utero, I guess it's called.
In the womb.
In the womb.
In the womb,
something
yeah.
like this. He ate his
Womb
twin. He had a
buffet.
twin. Yes, he had a twin, but he ate his twin, and since then he has been an evil guy. And I will never understand him, and nobody will ever understand him. But he's very evil, and he inspires the entire band to do this evil shit.
And you're just glad you're not his twin, right? I'm sure.
Yes, I'm glad he's not.
I'm going to play another track now. I'm going to play Severed Gate Shroud. What can you tell us about this one?
It's it's not the most recent track we recorded, but it's we recorded it in probably May 2024, and it's a chaotic track that we never kind of agreed on when it comes to the entire composition of the song. It kind of stops in the middle and turns to this groovy, weird jam in the King Crimson style, and it's a messy song, and probably the one that sounds best in my opinion, because the snare drum is so tight, and it's probably the most chaotic song, and maybe the most evil song.
I'm going to play that now. This is Nedgravd with Severed Gate Shroud from the Ascension record that came out on Headsplit Records in 2026. It'll be back on the Tampa Morgue after this. And that was Nedgravd with Severed Gate Shroud, and we were back on the morgue here. And the scene, so 2026, the underground scene in your area, how would you explain that? What are some bands that that you guys play with often?
We actually have a handful of really cool death metal bands in Oslo at the time. I mean, obviously Aberration, which have gained a lot of attention. Aberration and Impugner, I guess it's pronounced, but we usually pronounce it Impugner because it sounds more harsh.
So I had Daniel on the show, and I was totally pronouncing it the wrong way. And then I was like, oh shit, it's Impugner. I'm like, fuck, dude.
Impugner, yeah.
I was
But
like,
it sounds
shit.
so sissy. Impugner. It sounds really.
Yeah, I was totally
gay.
fucking that up.
But I mean, Impugner is really cool impetigo autopsy kind of band. And Herdicide, also a really good band we played a couple of shows with, which is more in the Beherit kind of style, but really primal and evil duo with just guitars and drums. They'll release an album pretty soon. It's very, very good. And Sovereign we have in Oslo, which is cool kind of technical death thrash in the vein of Pestilence from the Netherlands. Very cool band. And Nice is a cool band called.
Oh, they were on here too.
Yeah, they were. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yep.
Yeah, cool band.
Heimland we had on here too, actually, from Norway.
Hi what?
Heimland.
Oh yeah, black metal.
Yeah, they toured with Take a couple years ago, and then we had them on, I think, last year.
Cool. Yeah, but there are a handful of good death metal bands, but of course a lot of shit bands too, which it kind of sucks. But there are more shit bands than good bands in the underground here, like Celestial Scourge, kind of the most shitty band I've ever heard. It sounds like it sounds like the worst diarrhea we've ever heard in the worst possible way. And but mostly a couple of good bands here. Yes.
You guys take it very serious. There's a certain amount of bands. It's kind of like a dress up for them, then they go home. It's not like the 24/7 thing. Do you guys have that too in your scene?
I don't know, because we only hang out with the cool bands. I don't really pay attention to the losers in the scene. So I'm not familiar with these kind of dudes, but there probably are a couple of those, yes.
You kind of mentioned something before. Did you guys put out prior demos to the Ascension album?
We didn't put out anything, but we have recorded a bunch of stuff before Ascension, but they didn't sound good enough to be released. So
yeah, because I'd never seen anything officially put out besides that, and I was wondering if these guys have any demos they didn't put out.
Oh, I think there's a rehearsal demo on SoundCloud, instrumental rehearsal demo, but there's no point in listening to that.
No. It's the first, you've done a couple zines, I know, and stuff like that. This is the first audio interview you guys have ever done. Is that another thing? You guys are going to be selective with what you do?
Probably mostly because we're too busy doing evil shit. But when we have time, we will gladly show up to nice interviews with Tampa people. And for the most time, we don't have time for stuff like that. We just need to ship shirts to shitloads of people wanting shirts, and create songs and watch movies and stuff. We don't really have time for all of stuff like that.
Well, we appreciate you coming on here, man. And that's
of course. I just saw Tampa Morgue, and I said, "Yeah, I've listened to that. That's really cool." Like that.
Yeah, we appreciate it, man. And do you have a particular favorite death metal scene? Obviously, you got the Swedish scene, you got the Norwegian scene, the Tampa scene, the California scene, Texas scene too. I mean, I think Texas, as I always say, is an underrated place for metal. I don't know if have you ever checked out Imprecation yet?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, great band. Yeah.
Lot of Imprecation inspiration in some of the Nedgravd songs.
They're a great band.
Very,
we had Jeff on here and Dave.
Yeah, I heard.
So for you, do you have a certain scene that you would?
I'd say one of the most underrated scenes is the Bergen scene in Norway, which I guess includes like 4 bands or 4 bands worth listening to. Like Molested is a Norwegian death metal band, which is probably my favorite Norwegian death metal band beside Dark Throne. Really great stuff, and they played a lot with the Old Funeral guys and Amputation, I think. Drew a lot of inspiration from Amputation and Aternus, which I guess people call a black metal band, but really is a kind of chaotic death metal band. Very cool shit. And of course, Dark Throne. So Norway as a whole is a really underrated death metal scene, I'd say. But if you ask favorite death metal scene, I have to say New York and that area. With all of those bands, Incantation and Phlegm and Fallen Christ,
Revenant and the Ripping Corpse and stuff.
Ripping Corpse and all those. Yes.
Oh, and with Nedgravd, what is the first song you guys actually wrote?
It's called Urnevisa, and we play it live, but we haven't released it. It's a really slow autopsy kind of song.
When you have Eric in the band and everything in the beginning, who's writing the lyrics when you guys are starting out?
When we were starting out, it was Eirik writing the lyrics and most of the riffs. He was kind of the songwriter, I'd say. And then he later turned to more of a I don't know what's it called in English, but in Norwegian we say sus, which means that you really have to comb your hair all the time and buy expensive watches and put on lame shirts and stuff like this, do homework. So we stopped writing evil death metal songs and started doing that. And then we had to write our own songs.
We were mentioned earlier too with the themes and stuff, 70s, 80s horror movies, also black magic and stuff like that, and stories. So yeah, how would you explain your lyrics to the listener on the first record even?
I'd say they speak for themselves, but they really are they are the music in lyrical form. They are stories that I hope fit the composition of the songs, and they take you to dark places with evil witches and ghouls and skulls and stuff like that. So just read them and relax and listen to the music, and you will see.
And when is the first official show for you guys? Because you guys were playing shows in 2021.
Yeah,
Right.
we were playing in 2021. Yeah, I think our first show was October 15th, 2021. Yes, that's our first show. We played 4 songs with 2. I guess we played with a black metal band and a stoner doom band, and it was really cool. And we wore makeup, and we were really proud. And there are videos of it, I think, but it's not as cool as it is now. But yeah, October 15th, 2021, first show.
And for you, are you more of a fan of playing live or more of the writing process?
I hate writing songs with the band, so playing live is definitely more fun. It's way more energy. The rehearsals where we actually write music is probably one of the least favorite social situations I have, because we're always sitting there with no energy, and everyone's like, "Yeah, what about this riff? That's kind of cool. Oh, that's not cool at all. Oh, okay, okay." And then we just sit there for hours, not finding out anything. But playing live is a great experience every time. I love it.
We mentioned Lars joins a month after the band forms, and then 2022, Eric steps down from doing vocals, and then Torbjorn takes over on vocals. So he was started out as the live vocalist for the band.
Yeah, I mean, I knew him from school. He was the guy that introduced me to Slayer and those bands. So he was fundamental when it comes to my musical tastes. Uh, s- uh, but he had kind of a different approach in the beginning, because Eirik was very, what's it called, stoic. Do you have that word in English? I don't know.
Yeah,
Stoic. Yeah, he kind of stood on stage really. If you've seen the videos of Ulver live, where the vocalist just standing there, just really no feelings, and just really evil. But when we got Torbjörn in, he went all out and was tossing the microphone around to people and stuff. But at one point, he really he turned evil and started playing the bass in the band because Eirik quit, and then Torbjörn hopped on bass, and Lars took over Eirik's guitar, and we really became a four-piece. And he contributed a lot to the songwriting, and definitely is the best death metal vocalist of this time, in my opinion. He can
He's
do
killer,
anything.
man.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
really killer. He can do
Yeah.
anything.
He's killer, and I got to say too, for you guys, were you, Lars and Axel, like when you guys when he first becomes the singer of the band, are you like, were you guys like, fuck yeah, like this is a change we need, the new blood? Was that kind of, were you guys found a new excitement in the band?
Yes, when he really got into the band and became a member, he brought a new level to the band that we really needed, and a new range to the vocals. He has a lot of dynamics in his vocals. He has all of those deep, and he also has high stuff, and he writes evil lyrics. He is, of course, the master of the English language in the band because he is half American. So he knows a lot of words that we don't know. So that's perfect when it comes to writing English lyrics. And he is one evil son of a bitch. So it was a perfect thing that he came into the band. It brought the band to new depths.
And when he joins, how active live were you guys? Like, so 2022 period, I'm talking about. Like, are you guys doing a lot of gigs, or are you guys just doing selective gigs?
We did all the gigs we could get, I guess. I mean, we played mostly at like squat places and like punk gigs with shitty bands, but we didn't know how to get gigs because we didn't know any other metal guys, and we were really young, so we just every time we got an offer to do a gig, we said hell yeah, yeah, and we did the gig, and nobody in the crowd liked death metal, so it was kind of a mediocre experience every time, but we loved to play, and we played everything we could do, and it paid off because we got better as a band.
With the new lineup, how was the chemistry writing the debut record? How long did it take you also to put together that material that comes out in 2026? You guys have those 6 years prior to that. Like, how old are some of those songs? And how many songs did you actually have that didn't get recorded onto the album that you had put to the side?
I mean, of songs we put to the side, I think we have 4 or 5, but they were the old songs. The first song written for the album that ended up being on the album is Sentiential Incantation, which we started writing, I think, in 2022. And it's the second song we really wrote together. The second song we wrote together as a band, which turned out being the best way to write songs. Writing it in the rehearsal space as a band, as opposed to writing it at home and then coming to the rehearsal and showing it to the band. So, although it took a lot of time writing that song, Sentiential Incantation, it seemed to be the best way to write a good song, doing it together, and we have done it that way ever since.
Now is Torbjörn handling the lyrics now?
Yeah, it started when he joined. It was more of a everybody doing the lyrics, but now he's doing it on his own. I think Lars is also doing some lyrics. I don't know because I don't write lyrics and I can't understand what he's growling anyway. So it's the same, but mostly to mostly Torbjörn doing the lyrics. Yes.
When you guys go to record, where do you guys record the debut?
Most of the record is recorded in Stovner Rockefabrik, which I mentioned earlier. The kind of is a youth center? Is that what you call it?
Yeah, the youth
Yeah,
centers.
youth center where a bunch of the early black metal recordings of the 90s were made, which is cool. But it's mostly just a youth center for drug dealing immigrants that rap instead of dealing drugs. So it's a very good place for making your kids do good shit instead of doing bad shit. But we exploited it to make some evil shit. So that's where we recorded most of the tracks, and we recorded Black Blood Descension at our rehearsal place, and all the guitars were also recorded there. So yeah.
How long of a process was it? Because I know you guys finished up in December, right? Because you guys were still playing shows, because you guys were doing shows with Deathhammer while you guys were finishing up the recording. You guys were still gigging.
Yeah, I mean we had recorded 4 songs, I think, in spring 1 year ago. No, 2 years ago. yeah, 2 years ago we had recorded 4 songs, and we said, yeah, that we were done. We're gonna mix it, and then we're done. And then we wrote another song, and we said, oh, we should record this. And then we recorded it, and we said, yeah, we should put it on the demo. Yeah, just put it on the demo. And then we wrote another song, and we said, oh, we should record this too. And we should put it on the demo too. Yeah, we should put it on the demo. And eventually we had, I guess, 6 songs, and we tried mixing it with 4 or 5 different people, but it just ended up sounding like shit every time. So we just mixed it ourselves, making it sound even more shitty. But at least it doesn't take the evil away from the songs. Yeah, it was a really long process, because we first of all we didn't make it sound right before trying to do it ourselves, and also we just kept adding songs to the album. So like I said, we initially wanted to just release a demo, but as we kept adding more songs, people were just saying, "No, you should just release it as an album. It's already 35 minutes long and it sounds pretty good, so it just be an album." And we said, "Oh, okay." And we mixed it to make it sound the way it sounds, and released it as an album after, I guess, 2 years of messing around with the tracks. So, and it still doesn't sound the way we wanted it to, but doesn't matter.
Now, how did you guys hook up with Dylan over there at Head Split Records?
It was Magnus from Aberration. He mentioned it in an interview with the Headsplit newsletter. He just said, "Oh, you should check out Nedgravd. It's evil." And then Headsplit sent me a message and said, "What is this band? It looks very cool." And we said, "Oh, it's Nedgravd. I'll send you a song." And we sent him a song, and they said, "Wow, this is very good." And then I said, "Yeah, we'll keep in touch." And it took another year or 2, and then we sent him the album, and it got released.
It hasn't come out on vinyl yet. I'm sure you guys have to be getting offers. When do you start noticing the attention outside of the scene? Like, when do you like start saying, "Oh shit, man! Like, this, our records really the response," because you guys have had a really positive response to this thing.
Yeah.
When do you guys start realizing this and go, "Oh shit,"
I guess it was a couple of hours after releasing the single called Sentiential Incantation, because people that pay attention to the Headsplit releases, I see a new band, it's from Norway, cool, and I say, "Oh, that looks like the Infestor album cover. Infestor is really cool," and they listen to it and oh, The guitar sounds like Infestor. Oh, the vocal sounds like Infestor. It's an Infestor worship band. Very cool. I need to listen to this. This is very cool because there are very few bands that do that kind of style, and I guess because there have been so few bands doing that kind of a basic style of death metal that's also dynamic and long compositions and stuff like that. Like Infestor and Imprecation, the attention came quite quickly because it's kind of a rare thing these days, I guess. And we were really surprised by this because the record sounds like shit when it comes to production. So that was a positive thing that the people actually like to listen to it, even though it sounds like shit. So we eventually got a deal with Extremely Rotten Productions in Denmark on doing the vinyl
Nice.
in collaboration with Headsplit Records. But ever since, I guess, March, I have said, yeah, I'm gonna send the files so you can master the album for the vinyl. But and then I've started sending him the files, and then he said, "Oh, this mix is trash. It's so compressed you can't press it on vinyl. It's not possible to press it on vinyl. It's gonna ruin everything. It's gonna sound like shit." And then he said, "Yeah, you have to send it like you have to send each individual track." But I haven't done it. So when I do, the production will start, and there might be vinyls coming our way. But until then, we'll sit here with only CDs and tapes.
What's your preferred format, personally?
Vinyl, probably, yes.
Yeah.
But
And you did the cover art on this one also.
yes, I did.
Yes. You also had some guests on this too. So you had some additional vocals on Black Blood, Descension.
No, it was on the first track, Qhurra, the Storms of Qhurra. We have our manager or our freak, who is called Stian Hjertvik. He plays in a romantic, very homosexual band called Fanatisme, which means fanatism. He's a really cool guy, but he only likes girls and French romantic movies and stuff. But he does really evil vocals.
It puts out a zine too, doesn't he? A Black Blood
the
zine.
Black Blood zine is a really cool zine, and I hope it returns soon. And I also have a band with him, along with my brother Axel, called Satanic Crystal, I guess, which is kind of in Brazilian evil primitive mystifier style. But
You guys have
yeah.
everything recorded at all, or?
Yeah, we made a demo on 4-track tape. It's really cool.
And you do live drums too for you've done, or at least for Hellish Force and Grilla.
Yeah.
Did I get it right?
Grilla, yes. It's
Grilla.
an Icelandic name. It's a witch or something that steals your children during Christmas or something.
Oh, like the what the fuck is that? What do we call it in the
Yeah,
States?
the Grinch. Yeah, it's a Grinch.
Yeah, the Grinch or the there's another creature too. But yeah, okay. So yeah, you do, so you play live drums for them also?
Yeah, Grilla is the solo project of our vocalist Torbjörn. It's a really cool black metal. I don't know how to really describe it, but it's, I'd say, one of the most unique and original black metal projects of our time, or as in 2026. It's it's kind of loosely based on the US black metal bands like Grand Belial's Key and those kind of triumphant bands. But it really has its own spirit to it, so I highly recommend checking that out. There's also a new record coming out soon. I did cover art for both of those and the logo. Very, very good shit. And I played live drums for them, but I'm really tired of it because it's boring playing black metal. I don't like it. But Hellish Force, which I also played live for, is more fun because it's thrash metal and it's energy all the time and evil riffs. Very good band.
Thanks, man. And with Nedgravd, you guys did a release show too with Impugner, right? You guys did how was the release show for you guys?
Definitely the most evil death metal gig I've ever witnessed was with Impugner and Argentinian band called Apophenia, which is also very, very good and primitive. And yeah, it was a great show. Also, like in the place I mentioned called Boxen, in the cave underneath the squatted place.
Looks like a bunker, and I've seen footage of this place.
Yeah,
Right?
it
Looks like
looks
a
like a
bunker in
bunker.
there.
It
Yeah,
looks
yeah.
like a bunker, yeah. And we brought the huge pentagram, which we've borrowed from Deathhammer. They used it for a music video back in the day. But
You guys supposed to have a music video. Speaking of music videos,
oh yes, we do have a music video.
where is the music video? I cannot find the music video for
No, it's
for
not out
Black
yet.
Blood
We haven't
Descension.
edited it yet. Yes, yeah, it's Black Blood Descension. It's our friend Stian who does vocals on Qhurra, or additional vocals, I guess. He is editing the video in some stupid computer program, and it will be really evil. We're cutting off Lars's dick and pouring blood everywhere and burning a cross, actually, which is a cool thing. So look forward to that. It's a cool thing.
Your next gig's September that you guys actually have booked right now. That's announced at least.
Yeah, we're playing with Kolbran and another black metal band in Oslo, and then the same weekend we're playing with Funebrarum, or I don't know how you will
From
pronounce it.
Jersey. Yeah,
Yeah.
from New Jersey. That's where I'm from originally. Yeah, New Jersey. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, well, Funebrarum is a great band, I think, and that will be a really cool show. And yeah, a bunch of gigs planned later that fall.
Do you guys have new material written already for the next record?
We recorded the demo yesterday, actually.
Can you tell us how many songs? Obviously, if you can't, you don't have to. But
Yeah, we have. I guess we have one song finished and 3 songs that are halfway finished. The one song we have finished is called "Ghoul of Nazareth," and it's a story of Jesus dying and then resurrecting as a zombie and killing his mother and stuff like that. It's a really cool song. It's yeah, it's one of our best songs, I think. It's very, very good. And yeah.
are you guys going to do an EP or full album next? Or you guys haven't decided?
We haven't decided yet. I don't know. I really want to do a 7-inch, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Anybody who's looking for any merch for you guys, shirts or anything, obviously, where would you send them?
Headsplit Records. I guess they have a website, Store Envy or something like that. But we will ship shirts from Oslo too when we put up a Bandcamp thing, because I have a shirt printing business going.
Oh shit!
So we have printed a bunch of shirts, but we'll print a bunch more and then we'll put them up on Bandcamp and people can buy from there. But as of now, you can only buy it from Headsplit, but soon we can buy it from Bandcamp.
You guys have something that a lot of bands don't do anymore. You guys have a webpage, like an actual, and it's old school. It reminds me of the old GeoCities, the early web pages. And it's up to date too. I mean, if you look at everything's up to date, man. But I think that was kind of cool because I think bands just don't do that anymore. They rely on Facebook or Instagram and stuff. So I did notice that. Whose idea was that?
That was my idea. It was Kato from Deathhammer. He showed me their old webpage, and I just said, "Wow, you could do this with a band? That's genius!" And I just made it real quick in I think Google something, and I think it's a cool thing. And recently we started adding some medical updates. I don't know if you've seen it, but if you check it out now, we're featuring medical updates on the news page. So whenever there's something brutal happening with our bodies, you'll see it there.
Nice, man. Well, first of all, man, I want to thank you for coming on and doing your first audio interview with us. That's killer, man. And I'm excited to see what you guys do in the future. And hopefully you guys come back on here, man, when you get the new record out and stuff.
Yes. We'd love to.
Yeah, I mean, I really appreciate it. And on the way out of here, we're going to play Black Blood Descension. What can you tell me about this track? Besides there's a video coming out for it.
Yeah, well, there's an evil video coming for it, and it's the final song we wrote for the album. And we all agree on that it's the best song. I guess, in my opinion, it's the kind of defining track when it comes to our style of death metal. The kind of, it's evil death metal, but with a bunch of tragic, griefing riffs. Like, the first riff in the song is really, I'm really happy with that. It's really simple, but it's kind of grieving and evil at the same time, and it's got a lot of variation. And yes, definitely the track we adore the most, and the most recent track we recorded in our rehearsal place, and look forward to the music video.
The outro to that record, what was the idea?
That's from Anthropophagus, I don't know. It's an Italian film from 1981 or something. Really cheap movie about a cannibal, and it's it's a great movie, and that Zorba theme from it's kind of a Greek song. It's the main theme of the movie, and we just put it on the album.
Oh, man.
Now the other keyboard shit on the album is done by a friend of ours called Dario Organo. He's a really cool dude. I don't know much about him, but he did most of the keyboard stuff on the album. But the outro is from a movie, Anthropophagus.
And I'll say goodbye to you here in a moment, but everybody else, I'm going to play Black Blood Descension. Anything you want to say on your way out?
That's my message.
This is Nedgravd with Black Blood Descension that came out on the Ascension record May 14th, 2026 on Headsplit Records. And I'll be back on the Morgue after this. And that was Black Blood Descension from Nedgravd. And we thank Olav for hanging out with us tonight. Actually, the whole band was in the room, man. You let Olav handle everything. Episode 145 in the books, Mr. Webb.
Creeping towards 150. If we can keep this fucking thing working right.
And never lacking technical difficulties either. So always some kind of bullshit. I tell you what,
man, I've never seen some of the stupidest shit that we deal with. And again, do it live. Do it live. We'll do it fucking live. Fuck it. We'll do it live. No way. We never could do this.
This is the second time we are doing the closing of this show, just so everybody knows we this is not the first ending we've done for this episode. So but yeah. No, so we're back with you, but yeah, definitely thank Olav for hanging out, man. Killer band. I don't know. Hopefully this is recording, but
yeah, I'll run through the spiel. You can find us on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, anywhere there's a podcast. The Tampa Morgue at gmail.com for correspondence, or if you want to buy some fucking shirts. We mentioned the first time we did this that we are going to put up a site so me and Tony can sell some of our personal swag that we have, from CDs to records to
posters,
t-shirts, anything, dude. We're going to put it up. It's the easiest way for us to do it. And, you know, you guys are old school, so you'll dig what we got. Instagram, follow Instagram, because we definitely keep up with that, or Tony does. I don't do shit. And as usual, Facebook fucking sucks.
Yes,
so there's my spiel.
Yes, indeed. And upcoming guest-wise, again, we have Zorn from Philadelphia coming up, Jeff Manis from Venom, Cutthroat from Ireland. So yeah, a lot of shit in the works. And everybody, we appreciate you for listening. We'll catch you next week. And yeah, have a good week. Peace.
See ya.
This is King Fally from Deceased, and you just listened to another episode of the Tampa Morgue. Tune in next week and stay fucking dead.